Greetings, brothers. Today I had a couple of different members ask me about King of the Colosseum, which is a 500-point game mode that sounds really, really interesting for 10th edition of 40k. I have never heard of it, so I've dived down the rabbit hole, I've looked at it, and we've built some both Liberator Assault Group and Angelic inheritors lists to take on, well, I guess become the King of the Colosseum. So hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is John, and every week in this channel we are going to make you a better Blood Angels players. And as I said, a few people have been asking about King of the Colosseum, which is a 500-point game mode. In some ways, I think it's more exciting than Boarding Actions. It's actually pioneered by the Play on Tabletop YouTube channel. If you have never checked them out, they do amazing content. They actually shouted me out in one of their Blood Angels videos before. But yeah, I love these guys. I think they're one of the best battle report channels on YouTube. Check them out if you haven't done them. So the goal of this video is to create a list for this King of the Colosseum tournament. Or game mode, I guess. So the battlefield is 36 by 36, so quite a bit smaller than regular 40k. Deployment is 9 inches from the sides, so north and south or east and west, whatever. The Colosseum walls are impassable. They block line of sight infinitely high, and they're also not breachable, so you would have to go up and over them, but you cannot land on them. And then the 4 pieces of terrain in the middle are standard pieces of terrain, and what this looks like for objectives are 5 objectives. But this is a 500-point game mode, so it's going to be near impossible to ever hold 5. You're probably going to struggle to hold 3. It's straight away in my head when I start thinking about 500-point game. And I know in Boarding Actions you can take squads of Terminators, but Terminators are 175 points minimum, so you can't even fit 3 squads. So if you take 2 squads of Terminators, you are massively limiting what you can take. So I would probably steer away from these uber elite units that are like 150 plus points. And in Blood Angels that's pretty good because we've got a nice little 3-man unit. They're called the Sanguinary Guard, and they're only 125, so they could be perfect for this game mode. Anyway, so each entrance to the Colosseum, and there is 4 entrances, there's an objective and then there's a statue in the middle. And what's interesting about this is you can just buy both the game mat and the terrain, and the terrain comes assembled, and I believe it comes full color as well, which is super cool because I bought the Boarding Actions terrain and then had to pay, well, I could have done it myself, but I ended up paying almost the same amount of the terrain again to get it commissioned. So this gives you the mat and the terrain, and it's not quite as limited in Boarding Actions. If you're playing Boarding Actions, there isn't a Blood Angels detachment, it's just generic Astartes, whereas this map we can actually play the Blood Angels detachment. So in a way, this is probably more exciting to me. It's also cool, right? Like, it brings out like that Gladiator vibe. I love this. And I'll put a link in the video description. You can pick it up on Frontline Gaming. Actually, here it is at the bottom. So if you're going to play in the Colosseum, it's custom in terms of the list building requirements. You have to include at least 1 character who is your warlord. And you can have no epic heroes, so that means no named characters, no Mephisto, no Dante. It would be like a captain, a named captain. You could give him an enhancement, but he would not need to. He would obviously not be a named character. You must include 2 infantry units that are not characters. There can be no unit that's toughness 10 or higher. Toughness 9 is the maximum toughness. Do you know what's toughness 9 that I really, really like in lists? I'm going to come to it so you guys can guess right now, but you know what I like that's really toughness 9 for Blood Angels, right? Enhancements are allowed, and you're allowed 500 points, and all other standard list building rules from match play apply. However, in the Colosseum, battle line units can advance, shoot, and do actions, which makes them very good. Intercessors, obviously, with their sticky objectives, and the pure lack of models or units you're going to have in this list, Intercessors, advancing and shooting, bear in mind they get 4 bolter shots if they pick the same target now. I think they could be like a dark horse, and I'm definitely going to include them in one of my lists here. And the terrain set for this is available. It's $165 for both the mat and the terrain. Shipping to the UK said it was $35, so $200 all in. That is not too bad, because Boarding Actions, I think, is about, well, $200 probably converts to about £150, so it's pretty much the same as Boarding Actions. Is this cooler or not? I guess we'll find out, right? I mean, they're both 500-point game modes. I'm going to be playing a little bit of Boarding Actions because I haven't played it for a while in the next couple of weeks, but I really do want to try this. And diving down this rabbit hole for me was kind of exciting. So it's 5 victory points for holding any of the 5 objective markers, up to 15 points per round, and 50 for the game starting on the second turn. So standard 10th edition rule set, no scoring primary in turn 1. All secondaries are tactical secondaries. This means you need the deck of tactical missions, or you need the tabletop battles app. Scoring, you still get your 10 points for painted, but even if you're tabled, you can still score. So sticky objectives can still count and you can continue to draw secondaries. If the game ends early due to tabling opponent, you must play out the turns. So in the Colosseum, it isn't over until it's over. And that was a direct quote from Play on Tabletop. I guess it means you fight to the very last standing, which is cool. I mean, the games are only 500 points. I imagine they're going to be quick. I imagine probably turn 4 or 5. You're not going to have many models left, but if you have managed to sticky a few objectives, that could actually score you points and win you the game. Alright, every game will be played on the 36 by 36 Colosseum. Every game uses the same mission, which is just the score 5 for primary, up to 15 per turn. The walls block line of sight and are impassable. Nothing can go through the walls. Models can scale the walls, measuring up and over, but you cannot land models on top of the walls. So in some ways, jump pack units could be kind of useful here. Units can enter the Colosseum through the 4 gaps, or scale the walls, right? So you have to go through one of the gaps in the outside terrain, or you have to scale the walls. And then the 4 ruins inside the Colosseum are basically standard, infinitely blocking high, and they're 4 inches. They're just standard, like, L-shaped pieces that we see in every single game of 10th edition 40k. Now, when they're playing on Play on Tabletop, they actually put a twist in. And the twists that they've got are pretty interesting. I guess you could make your own twists, but for avoidance of doubt, because the people asked me to look at this, I think they would be playing with the tabletop twist. So one is until the battle, end of the battle, your warlord gets 3 additional attacks. So I guess if you're picking a warlord in Liberator Assault Group or Angelic Inheritors, try and make sure he has a power fist, because then he'll just crush. Runescape basically means all the terrain is passable, right? Like normal and advanced moves can go through the terrain. So I guess the idea is that the whole board is in ruins, and you can even move through those impassable walls. Adapt or Die is a cool twist, because you're often going to probably draw a secondary you can't score, so this just lets you change it, and this is a standard this is a standard twist that you see in the chapter approved deck. And then Point Blank. This is a twist that I haven't seen before. Ranged weapons, excluding blast, have the pistol ability. So I like this, and basically saying, like, every single weapon in the game on your character that's a ranged weapon. So, like, the idea is you're in this Colosseum, it's all super close range. Hell, your Hellblasters, they're now pistols. That sounds fun, right? If you get stuck in combat with a unit you don't want to be stuck in combat, it doesn't matter. They'll just shoot you with pistols. So thoughts on this game mode, right? I think it's very similar to playing boarding actions, right? Having more units is likely better than having 1 or 2 big death balls, because 1 or 2 big death balls, you're only going to hold 1 or 2 objectives. So Terminator squads, as cool as they are and as much sense as they maybe make thematically and to go into boarding actions, and also Terminators waddling into the Colosseum to hold the middle of the Colosseum, it's going to actually make it very difficult for the rest of your list, unless you do like 1 squad of Terminators, and like I think you could get 2, 3. You could definitely get 3 squads of intercessors. I mean, that might be valid, and then a character. So 3 squads of intercessors, Terminators, and a character. But then I think at that point you probably wouldn't want to be playing Liberator Assault Group and Angelic Inheritors, because you don't want to take like a shooting detachment, because you've got an absolute boatload of bolt rifles. Fast moving options are going to be very useful, obviously, because jumping around the objectives is going to be helpful. You'll need to perform an action or 2, so you need some things that can do that, and I think you definitely want some battle line. With it being such a small arena, units that can do both ranged and melee combat are going to excel, because they're probably going to end up doing both. And before we show you any of the Liberator Assault Group or Angelic Inheritors lists that I have built this week, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you would like to be notified every single time I go live with new content. And we are going to be playing boarding actions a little bit more on the channel, and I was going to say, if we get enough super chats in the next couple of weeks, maybe we can get the terrain for King of the Colosseum, because I think this looks awesome. So King of the Colosseum, a Liberator Assault Group. Like, I thought we could take a Judasaur as the Warlord with 3 Blade Guard. Pretty simple. Fight first, Blade Guard. Strength 7 on the charge, lots of attacks. You could have a unit of Assault Intercessors with Power Fists. I guess they could be advancing around, performing actions and combating when needed. I would have rather this was a sticky objective, but I was just 5 points shy. Maybe it would have been a better idea to change this to a Chaplain and give up the Fight First and change this to a unit of just sticky Assault Intercessors. Sticky regular Intercessors, right? Like, that might have been a better choice here, actually. 5 Jump Intercessors, because Jump Intercessors are kind of awesome in Liberator Assault Group. 5 Sanguinary Guard, or 3 Sanguinary Guard, excuse me. Again, kind of awesome in Liberator Assault Group. Strength 7 is going to be super meaningful in the charge when... Or Strength 8, actually, on the charge. Because nothing can... There's only very few models that are going to be Toughness High, and you obviously have access to Red Rampage as well. So I think 3 Sanguinary Guard in this list are going to be very, very strong. And then I thought I would park an Invader ATV on my home field objective. Gives me 1 Multi-Melta and a couple of bolt rifles. And it's got 8 wounds. So it could survive a little bit of fire. But there could be a very real idea here about removing the Judasar into Chaplain and changing these to regular Intercessors. So that is what I came up with for Liberator Assault Group. Blade Guard with Fight First, and obviously Strength 7 on the charge, very strong. Jump Intercessor, Strength 6 on the charge. Sanguinary Guard, Strength 8 on the charge. Assault Intercessors, rerolling all hits and wounds. Rerolling all wounds, you still get your Oath of Moment. So this is a pretty strong, standard Liberator Assault Group list, and I think it's cool because it's different to boarding actions, right? Boarding actions doesn't let you take Liberator Assault Group. So what if we were going to do Angelic Inheritors? So Angelic Inheritors, I was going to do my Apothecary attached to my Hellblasters, because I think that's an awesome combo, right? And I was going to put them in an Impulsor. I think an Impulsor is... I was really tempted to take some other weapons, but I think the Shield Dome with the Invulnerable Save, Toughness 9 Invulnerable Save, is going to be a nightmare for people to get rid of because people aren't going to be teched into destroying vehicles. We're going to also cover a list, like all the cool units that I haven't mentioned in either of these lists that could be good as well. I'm going to have a solo Tech Marine as my Warlord, and he's going to give the Impulsor +1 to hit, and he's going to repair it a couple of times, hopefully. Because we're going to potentially take some mortal wounds from shooting the Hellblasters. So there's a lot of points in that. I'm going to have a unit of sticky Intercessors. I mean, maybe the Impulsor is just going to roll onto the middle objective with the Tech Marine Lone Operative right behind him, right? A unit of Sanguinary Guard. Not quite as good here because they are unled. But I think Sanguinary Guard are just a great unit. -1 to hit in melee. I think that will be meaningful in the Colosseum. It's still 14 attacks. Now that they hit on 2s, I don't think it's quite as problematic not leading them with a character. So I like the idea of the Sanguinary Guard. Maybe they're on one flank. The Impulsor, the Hellblasters, the Apothecary, and the Tech Marine are going to the middle. And the Intercessors are sticking the home field objective. I am very much playing Angelic Inheritors right now. I just prefer the Liberator Assault Group. I played it for 18 months. I think Angelic Inheritors has more nuance or more tactical play. Liberator Assault Group is just charge, charge, charge. So I think I would prefer to play the Angelicers list here. But I think if I was going to play the Liberator Assault Group list, yeah, maybe in hindsight, I would just get those sticky objectives. Because I think the sticky objectives and the fact that you can advance, shoot, and fire, Intercessors getting 4 shots per model, it's just very, very good. They're actually pretty good for 80 points. And especially you can Oath of Moment as well with them, right? So I think they would suit... There could arguably be a list here where you take 3 units of regular Intercessors, and then I think you could fit 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. Well, maybe it would have to be 2 Intercessors, 2 Sanguinary Guard, and a character. There's definitely a bunch of combos here. What other units do I like in the setting, right? I think Aggressors would be very good because they can obviously shoot and Overwatch and charge with the Flamers and Liberator Assault Group. They can advance and charge. I think a Captain with Assault Intercessors could be very good because, again, advance and charge, devastating wounds when you activate Finest Hour. If you get that Warlord thing where you would get 3 extra attacks, he'd be on 12 attacks with Finest Hour. He could be pretty bonkers, rerolling all wounds. So I think this is a cool combo as well. I think Sanguinary Guard are just great in both detachments now that they hit on 2 up. 125 points is fine. They can hide. They can jump forward. They can kill stuff. Jump Pack Intercessor is always a great unit. Only in Liberator Assault Group. I really don't think they're good in Angelic Inheritors. They just don't have the strength. But with extra attack and with extra strength from Liberator Assault Group, you know, you could realistically put in like 3 units of Jump Intercessors into the Colosseum. That would be good. Blade Guard are also amazing in lag for 80 points. Bringing, like, what would it be, like 15 strength 7 attacks, AP 2/2. Perfect for this setting. Even better if a character's attached. Like I said, Intercessors have massive potential. They're one of the best units I think you could possibly put into the Colosseum, especially with them being battle line and being able... You're going to need to do actions. This is going to help ever so much. And then Victor Tactical Warsuit. We don't ever see it, or I guess we see it very, very occasional in regular 40k. Coming in underneath the toughness limit at toughness 8 with like 12 wounds, I think. Could actually be really interesting, especially if you take the Flamer Cannon, because it gives you like pretty good Overwatch threat. It's D6 plus 3. It's only 1 damage, but are people going to have tons of elite models? Probably not. Its Fist is flat 3. It's strength 14, so it's going to wound a lot of stuff. I think the Tactical Warsuit, it's only 125 points. You could definitely find a way to sneak it in. And some people will really struggle to deal with it, I imagine, because people are not going to be teched. Or people are not going to be set up overly to deal with super high toughness, like toughness 8 or toughness 9. And I mean, if you look at my list here, the only thing that I've got that was strength 8 would be the Hellblasters, so they would wound at 4s at best. And if we go into the Liberator Assault Group list, again, the only thing that would be at strength 8 would be the Sangre Guard, so again, wounding 4s at best. So there's definitely... I think there's definitely place for a Tactical Warsuit, which is cool. I actually don't own this model, surprisingly. But I think it's just never been as competitive as it could have been in terms of, like, overall 40k. So I think this game mode sounds like it could be more fun than both boarding actions and combat patrol for 500-point games. I'm not sure if it's just the fact that Play on Tabletop streams, their streams are, like, concise, fun, really well edited. The people on the stream are just... a joy to watch, to be honest. And this sort of brings out like a Gladiator style fantasy with your Blood Angels characters, you know, Russell Crowe in the middle. Are you not entertained? I don't know. Like, it just sounds fun. I'm actually going to be diving into a few more games of boarding actions because it's the end of the edition and we bought the boarding actions rules and the terrain and we haven't really used them. But I must admit, I'm very tempted to get this Colosseum. If you've been playing King of the Colosseum and you've got a list, leave it down below. Maybe we could do like an army list show special. And if you haven't checked out King of the Colosseum, then I urge you to go over to Play on Tabletop. Just search King of the Colosseum Play on Tabletop on YouTube and you're going to find... They did like a pretty interesting series where they took every single army in 40k and did a tournament where they just all played to see who was the King of the Colosseum. If you enjoyed this video, thank you for watching to the end of it. Last week I talked about an all jump pack winning RTT Blood Angels list. So please do watch some of my other content. It does help me out ever so much. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is to buy some models using the affiliate links down here, support on Patreon, or click the big join button underneath the YouTube channel. Guys, I hope you have a great week. I hope this was an interesting video. I will catch you in the next one. By the blood are we made strong. Peace.